Hey Sagittarians, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your second half of our general reading here. So first things first, a very happy birthday season to you. We're looking at the second half of your birthday season. I hope that, however you're spending your birthday is beautiful and wonderful and everything that you want it to be. I say that in part because your meditation had to do with some wishes made. So what I saw an image of the star key as it's depicted in Lisa Robertson's Animal Totem Tarot deck. So in that deck, it's the image of a lighthouse and by a body of water, and then there is this oyster that's open and it's showing its pearl in the middle. So I was there and I saw this, and I saw the lighthouse, and the light was going every way except for on this oyster. It was like I was there and I could see like the Sagittarian collective like sitting by this oyster, waiting for the lighthouse to turn and shine its light on them, and this oyster representing, I feel, their own wish fulfillment, right? Their dreams, their goal, like what they desire. And it just wasn't coming. So I saw, the Sagittarius collective kind of go, well, I might as well lay down and like chill out and just look at the sky, because it's, I guess it'll come when it comes. The lighthouse will, shine on me when it's time. So I saw you guys looking up at the night sky only to see that there were no stars in the sky. It was just like a dark sky. But then the body of water that you were sitting near started glowing. And there was this light coming from deep in the water, and I saw it rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. And it came up out of the water, and the light revealed itself to be the god Ganesh, who is known as the remover of obstacles. He's depicted as an elephant god. So it's such a beautiful energy. The remover of obstacles rises from the watery depths and is a source of light that you never saw coming, or comes in an unexpected way from an unexpected source or at an unexpected time. Now, I do feel like part of the point of this is it doesn't come when you're looking at it. It doesn't come when you're looking at the lighthouse being like, when are you going to shine away? It comes when you reach a point of acceptance of it's going to happen when it happens, which is interesting because Aquarian energy also relates to divine timing. It was only when you were able to lie back and just look at the sky and just be from a place of acceptance and patience that the light came, but it was from in a very surprising way and as a big surprise. And Ganesh, the remover of obstacles, it's like, hello, beautiful. It's very auspicious. People pray to Ganesh so that, they can receive what they desire. And more often than not, it's happiness. We ask Ganesh for happiness for ourselves and for our loved ones, right? And then we let Ganesh or the universe or gods or goddess figure out what form that takes specifically. It's like we ask from a place of openness, understanding that, sometimes coming with too details or too specific an order from the menu can result in us limiting ourselves. It's a beautiful thing. So it's really interesting, Sagittarius, that we're looking at wish fulfillment in this energy in your birthday season, and then also having this come in an unexpected way as a surprise and such a beautiful, auspicious, moment of entrance from Ganesh. So it's really stunning, really beautiful. Let's go ahead and see what your cards say. Hey, Sagittarians, let's go ahead and see what your animal energy is for the second half of animal energy for... All right, here we go. So we have the frog here. Now, we have water here, right? That's the first thing. We have water energy here. And I saw you, by that body of water, Aquarius energy, are known as the water bearers, right? So that's coming up for you. But frog energy is it's a unique one. It speaks of emotional detoxification, right? So it's about holding onto things or feeling a level of pain, hurt, or any kind of feeling that just needs to be released in order to experience any kind of clarity, right? Because our emotions are one of those things where if they are left to their own devices long enough, it's like a still lake. It's on the surface, it seems calm, but you just know that like there's no filtration system in that lake. It is stanky if you were to go within it. You don't necessarily want to go rooting around in a lake that has just been left to its own devices, right, for too long, right? So by contrast, think of a river, right? A river that moves along the rocks and has that kind of natural filtration system, given to it by movement. That I would much rather like take a drink of that water than I would like a stank lake, like, so to speak. So it's interesting how this is coming up in that way. It's like emotions that have been, somewhat just like dormant or existing or building or long held or carried over from even way, 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 way in the distance parts of our past that are coming up for detoxification at this time. But here's what I really like about this for you. The frog equates to of wands in the tarot, right? So it's your home fire element, but it speaks of coming to the end of a cycle, right? Really coming to the end of a cycle, feeling the full weight, feeling the full, you'll be feeling like, wow, I am really ready to move on from where I am. I feel like I've reached the pinnacle or the precipice or the natural ending point of where I am. And I'm really ready from a soul place to just lay down whatever these wands are, whatever this burden is, and move forward unencumbered. Now, I have been resisting this in the past because that would require me making some hard decisions, making some changes, doing things differently, releasing certain stories that I held, from past or were telling myself about, like what script is in this world. So it is a challenge sometimes to really lay down those wands and go like, you know what, this is going to take me shifting and adapting in a way in order to release them. But you know what? I feel like you are at a place, Sagittarius, where you're really ready to do that from a soul, from an emotional place. You're like, I am emotionally ready to close out whatever this is that I've been carrying that feels heavy or feels expired or feels stagnant, right? It's interesting whenever you reach a place where fear of the unknown is real. Fear of the unknown can keep us from taking risks and really putting ourselves out there in a way, because feeling uncomfortable can be, can be a lot. And a lot of people go to great lengths to avoid feeling uncomfortable, right? But what's on the other side of that discomfort is growth, right? So I do feel like you're getting to a certain point, and this could be related to a lot of different things in your life. Like I said, some things from this past year, but also other things that have been longstanding, even from your childhood possibly, right? Or your early formative years, where it feels like you are willing to embrace the unknown and willing to forge ahead into a terrain that be unfamiliar or not yet traversed by you, over holding on to the familiarity and the comfort of what has been. Because even if things don't make us feel great, sometimes we choose those because they're more comfortable and familiar than what we don't know, even though it could be a better reality that only exists on the other side of us being willing to let go and change, right? It's an interesting one. But frog medicine is very much about you being able to release and detoxify and then greet, a new day without any of that, toxicity or emotional, stuckness, within your energy. So it's an interesting one. There's also, an aspect of the poison being released and really being cleansed, and it feels like a remedy. It feels like a remedy, right? Also, the fact that Ganesh was coming up is the remover of obstacles. And then we have the Ten of Wands, which is like, the accumulation of a lot of obstacles that are strapped to your back that are being, it's time to let go so that your hands are free to reach out and get that Ace of Wands and start a new cycle, right? Let's see what's going on. I love it. Okay. Three of Cups, more water energy here. I'm very happy to see this, Sagittarius, because it's joy. It's being with like-minded people. This is really feeling like you're a part of a community or a group that it just feels like they get you. It's your tribe. But this is also having like a cause and a reason for celebration as well. It's like lifting those cups up in the air and going cheers or skål or sláinte, whatever it is to you, and just saying, wow, I'm incredibly happy and joyful where I am. I feel like celebrating. So it's really interesting that we're looking at releasing these toxins, releasing these ideas or habits or sort of ties or binds that have been restricting us emotionally or blocking us in some way. And then here it's like, woo, like feeling like celebrating. And it's interesting that the bonds of friendship are really coming in here as well. Like sometimes it can be very, very medicinal to just be with people who truly accept you as you are and to really just, soak up the medicine that is being in their present and laughing and being light and having a good time. So perhaps this detox is partially, made, as a possibility by way of you lightening up and being around people that make you laugh, that you find joy in being with, right? That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. The Hanged Man. Really interesting. So, this is a pause in the action, but this is also really when we assume the hangman position, we do so that we can flip our perspective and see something differently. So there's a shift in perspective that wants to happen for you. Now, this is a major arcana. It's your first major arcana so far, which speaks of destined or fated events, right? The minors, if you don't like something, you can change it, right? Because minors are a direct result of your choices, right? Majors, on the other hand, speak of soul marker moments that just need to happen according to a divine plan that aren't really in your control. You can control how you choose to respond to it, though. And so the fact that this hangman is coming up in this way, there is gold on the other side of you seeing things differently, or something or someone differently, perhaps your own circumstances or your past differently. There's gold on the other side of that. And you're being called to really assume this position and be willing to see it, or be open to what this information could be, right? Why do I feel like this is relating to Ganesh and the remover of obstacles? Are they removed? And the happiness comes in as a result of you being made aware of something? Oh, it's too good. Judgment. Interesting. Another major arcana here. I like how this is depicted too, considering that, we're going to Yule season and the, second half of or Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever this is for you. But it speaks to this time of year as well. It's really nice. So judgment. This is fascinating. So judgment is, decisions and clarity and choices and, judgment that we do internally, right? Whereas the justice key is a judgment that comes from an external source. This is something that we do internally with and for ourselves. Now, what's fascinating about this is a very, very positive key. It is very similar to the 10 of Wands and the detox aspect of it, because the tagline for this key is look back with pleasure, right? So this is a healing of the past. This is forgiveness of self and others. This is unbridled joy that comes as a result of releasing everything that has been, so that you're able to move on to the last major arcana, the world, and find a successful completion and victory of a given cycle. This is the equivalent of being washed clean and being born anew. Similar to the frog medicine here. So the fact that this is coming up in this way and in such a positive context, because the judgment key, those who fear the judgment key or have funny energy around it in experience are very reluctant to look at themselves inwardly and to really do the inner work. It's a funny thing. It's like, ooh, that feels intense. I don't know about that. I don't like how that looks. It's always an interesting one, because it's like, oh, well, what is that resistance about? What is going on within you that you'd rather not see? So it's interesting. Also, in that meditation, that lighthouse, looking for the light to come back around you and it not quite hitting, and then lying back and looking up at the dark sky. Remember, there was an aspect of looking for the light externally, but then the moment that you were okay with looking up into the darkness, the light found you. Interesting. But this is an incredibly positive one. I also want to take from this as well, that St. George's flag representing England, and then we have these presents and the reindeer here as well. There really is this deep feeling around this that just says, there's a lot to be grateful for, and you're really tapped into that feeling during this time as a result of assuming this hangman position, allowing your perspective to be aided by the silence and the stillness and the time out, right? It's really beautiful. This feels like the roadmap that Ganesh is commenting on in terms of the remover of obstacles. This is the ABC and the 1, 2, 3 as how these obstacles are going to be removed from your path so that you can fly free, unencumbered, and brand new to finish out this given cycle from a place of victory going into the new year, right? Softening everything, getting back into your belly laughs with your friends, really taking the time to just enjoy those that you love that are around you, that you have a good time with, laughter being the best medicine, right? Not taking things too seriously, even when it's heavy. Then going from that loosens you up to the point where you can really assume that hangman position and be open to what wants to come through, open to realizations or directives that are going to lead you to where you want to go, into feelings of satisfaction and happiness, like Ganesh grants, right? Which leads you to judgment, feeling renewed, unbridled joy, feeling at peace for the first time in a while, truly at peace, truly at peace. And this feeling of inner peace does not happen as a result of everything in your external environment being exactly as you want it. Not at all. This inner peace comes from something very different. It doesn't come from anything evidence-based in your external world. It comes from connecting with your soul and your heart and knowing that you're exactly where you're meant to be. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing. Let's get some advice. Beautiful. Your advice is the High Priestess. Well, you don't say. So whenever she comes up as advice, it's brilliant because she says, let's tap into our inner selves and our intuition and what exists in our subconscious and in the darkness in order to glean and be able to perceive the information that is hidden there. But she deals with information that is hidden, right? So she speaks to the aspects of ourselves that, we need to assume the hangman position is another way of looking at it, to have access to. So this is about connecting into your intuition from a place of openness and willingness, and be willing to traverse those darker places in order to discern what is there for you that's going to help bring you into the light moving forward. Go into the darkness, bring what's there into the light of your awareness so that you can move forward. These aspects of things being in the dark. Remember in the meditation, I saw you staring up at the night sky, but there were no stars. It was the darkness. And then looking up at the darkness, right? The light was able to find you. There's something about that. But there's also, an aspect of this. Everything that lies within our subconscious, right, only has power over us if we don't bring it into awareness, right? So if we're making choices from a subconscious place of fear or past patterns, then we're not in full autonomy of our choices because we're acting, as prompted by things that we're not aware of, right? And then hindsight is funny. Looking back later, you go, oh my God, I made that decision because I was afraid, or I made that decision because of this, or I made that decision because of that past experience that I hadn't healed. So it's about bringing that stuff into the light so that you can step into the full autonomy of what your choices are going to, allow you to do and realize and move in the next year, because that's what this feels like as well. I feel like this is commenting on the time of year. And so it's a perfect time to do this as well, right? I feel like you are absolutely being guided in a very specific way so that you can finish out whatever chapter you've been in and then get to that Ace of Wands where you're feeling like you're in full autonomy of self and your options, right? I'm hearing something. This came up in the last line of readings. I don't remember for who. Maybe it was for you, but I can't remember. Anyway, there's this old story where, the person is drowning in the sea. And they're like, okay, God is gonna rescue me. I know it. God is gonna rescue me. And then this boat comes along. They're like, oh my God, are you okay? Come and get in this boat. Let me rescue you. And the person's like, no, it's okay. God's gonna rescue me. And they're like, okay, bye. And then another boat comes along. They're like, oh, come on in this boat. You must be so tired. Like, get in this boat. Like, no, it's okay. God's gonna rescue me. And the point of that story, I'm sure you've heard it before, is that is God, sending those people to rescue that person in the water, meaning that help doesn't always come the way that you think that it will. So the more that you are open-minded about, how it shows up, in what time and what it looks like once it does arrive, the more ability you have to take advantage of it and receive it, which I feel like is in this as well with the Hangman and Judgment and the High Priest. Okay, let's get to an article. Oh, I just got shivvies. I am the master of my domain. Yes. Courage, personal power, Lion in the solar plexus. Let's talk about this. So the solar plexus chakra, that is the chakra from which we experience the world, and it governs our seat of confidence. So if our solar plexus chakra needs to be cleaned or is out of alignment, that means that we are not fully seated in our confidence, and the way that we perceive the world is going to be from a place of our core wounds, right? So it's interesting that this is coming up here. Also, I'm the master of my domain. Lion energy is King of Wands energy. It's really stepping into your full power of your creative genius and being aligned with your purpose in a way that feels really good and comes from a place of deep-seated knowing and authority and inspiration, courage, personal power. That's what's on the other side of this and what you are being called to do. All of this is going to be helped along by you stepping into your power. And it's kind of like magician energy as well, and say, I am a co-creator of experience. And so I can do what I can do on my part, spirit, but I also understand that there are certain things that need to happen within a divine framework. And I'm okay with that because I want to co-create with you, right? I don't want to do it all on my own. And I don't want to leave it all up to you either. I understand that it's a partnership. So I feel like, stepping into that energy and that ownership is really, 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 really beautiful advice. And I feel like it's something that comes on the other side of you making room for it, right? And releasing and detoxing from things that are stagnant in your lake, whatever that is, and transferring that to a place that is flowing and clearer so that you can see clearly, and also, be in a place of, power around it, right? Really, really beautiful, Sagittarius. This does feel like a personal, evolution moment for you, I must say. It makes sense with your birthday season being here. I mean, you're also thinking about the next year coming up, as we tend to do at this time of year. We think about the previous year and where we want to go in the next. So this just feels like a way to do that in a way where, some of these obstacles can be removed by you, right? And by being in co-creative effort with the forces, that be or Ganesh or Goddess or whatever that is for you, so that you can move into this new year, not holding on to anything that doesn't belong there, that has reached its, expiration date. Okay. It's really beautiful, Sagittarius. So with that being said, I so hope that this helps and resonates. If so, let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments. And with that being said, just thank you. Thank you so, so much for being here. And most of all, and as always, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.